Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. I might sound a little short on breath for the moment here, because of course, having to feel like I had to rush a little bit here, really getting caught up on some stuff and all that. So, hopefully, everybody's having a good week thus far. Um, as of course, we wait for more people. Just as always, a friendly reminder, if you guys can if you guys haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here that to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Well, as I said, we're just going to wait it out a bit here. Just give it a few minutes for people to show up before we get started. Let me just take care of some things here. Just sharing it out to some people, reminding them that I'm on. And hopefully, they will come by to say hi. With that, let's see now. All right, so let's see now. So where are we at on time here? Let's see, 1:54, so 2 minutes. As I said, again, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to best of my ability. So, anyways, let's see. Just giving a little more time here before we get going. So we do have a couple of articles we're going to go over, of course, tonight. Um, one from Bounding in the Comics, the other from Bleeding Fool. Um, Mark Millar has recently came out and talked about trying to deal with the cancel pigs, as it were. Also, there's apparently a new comic coming out from that's actually going to be starring Benjamin Franklin. So we'll be looking at that as well. So let's see. Oh, let's see. Anything else before we get going here? I guess not. Try one more thing here. And all right. So, anyways, as we are now. So, with that, why don't we go ahead and get started then? I guess. Um, Again, if anything here we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to do our best to answer those questions. Let me just get to the articles here. Let's see. Da 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 da. Alrighty then. All right, so yeah, there we go. There's the article from Coming in the Comics. All right, so Mark Millar takes a stand against quote unquote cancel pigs, calls on creators and fans to quote never ever appease or encourage their cruelties unquote. Well, okay, the thing is, a lot of commentators have been saying this for the last, what is it, 3, 4, 5 years has been going on. Millar is just the latest guy to say. Essentially, I know of a number of guys, including myself, who basically made that point as well. You know, Yellow Flash constantly tells people not to do this stuff. So does Tug, that umbrella guy. So, I mean, the fact that Millar, if he's coming to this realization now, granted, I know Millar is kind of one of us, I guess, but if he's coming to that realization now, then he's a little slow on the uptake there. But um, article by Spencer McCulley published earlier today. So let's get into this. In taking a stand against the ever growing wave of cancel culture that currently overwhelms the world of comic books, well, it's not just comic books, it's pop culture across the board. But veteran industry writer Mark Millar has officially taken to calling out the self-serving and dishonest behavior of the many fans and writers who would seek to ruin another's career over the slightest of and often made up socio-political infractions, or as they have recently been colloquially termed, quote unquote, cancel pigs. And I think at least with that, um, I can, because we talked about the idea that these people who are trying to do this whole cancel culture, they like are trying to police society, pigs is a derogatory term used towards policemen or the police. So um, it does kind of make sense that that term would be used here. So, anyways, um, so there we go. Let me see now. Let me get back to this. Okay, so let's of course get back to the article here. Let's see. The Civil War stand against the cancel happy elements of his industry first began on December 6th following his hosting of the Comic Palace store owner Glenn O'Leary on his personal Millar time. And of course, we've been talking about that story as well, the Glenn O'Leary story about how he lament. And one of the things I recently heard from some people too is that this was a video that O'Leary did. I think it was a while back. It wasn't even a recent video, but all of a sudden um, they now seem to um, have something to say about it. So, anyways, podcast to discuss the latter's recent attacking by numerous comic book professionals over his opinion that, quote, writers nowadays, they don't care about who or what the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have a love of comics like these older writers had. All they care about is, quote, how do I put myself in the book? Yeah, the thing that a lot, and I know that I believe it was, I think it might have been, Metal who's pointing this out. Not even really the writers as much; it's the editors, right? The editors are the ones who have the you know I think it was him. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's anybody here who can, but anyways, as we continue on here, sharing his interview with O'Leary to his personal Twitter account, Millar was met with a number of replies, some positive, some negative. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Among Among those who commented on the discussion was Cyberfrog creator Ethan Van Sciver, who praised his industry colleague. Quote, "Terrific job, Mark, thank you," unquote.
I wonder.
Um, let's see. Quote, "I feel like you might be the only one who can destroy this evil," unquote, he added. Um, Quote, "That's what it is. It's killing comics. I'll get more eyes on this interview right now," unquote. hmm Well, calling it out, I mean, anybody can call it out, and people have been calling it out for the last 4 or 5 years here, okay? Because it's not just comics that this is happening in. This is across pop culture altogether. This is happening in anime, this is happening in cartoons, it's happening in, mainstream media. It's just across the board. In turn, Millar would thank Van Sciver for his kind words, offering back a simple quote unquote "cheers, bud." Unsurprisingly, given that Millar had interacted with an individual they perceived as one of comics' quote greatest evils, this friendly interaction was soon seized upon by, in smaller quotes, cancel pigs, in order to try and bully the Super Sun creator. Yeah. The thing is here, when dealing with bullies, the only way to get them to back down is to stand up to them. You know, when a bully gets knocked on his rear end, whether it's literally or figuratively, they usually will back down. You show your fangs, they'll back down. Um, Replying to a tweet from at Derek R, asking, quote, "Why exactly are people on here slagging Mark Millar," unquote. Queer Comics, the Pride writer Joe Glass claimed, quote, "Getting friendly with, in brackets, Comicsgate, the latest is a fairly friendly response to EBS, it seems," unquote. Albeit, from what I understand, I kind of thought Millar was maybe he's not like deep into Comicsgate, but I don't think this isn't anything, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, I kind of thought Millar was kind of friendly, has been friendly with Comicsgate pretty much from the beginning. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. um, so, anyways, as we continue on, of course, um, quote unquote. Also, he added, quote, "highlighted and defended the comics retailer who basically said comics are dying because people are adding diverse elements to existing characters." That's true. They're dying because you're putting yourself, adding those diverse characters, adding those diverse elements, and changing legacy characters to fit your own agenda. The people who will actually spend the money to buy the comics are saying, "No, we don't want this." Okay? I mean, this is pretty evident when you had one of these writers, Tim Sheridan, begging begging people to buy his Alan Scott Green Lantern comic to, as he put it, stick it to Commonsgate, right? You know, people don't want you messing with the characters that they grew up with. People do not want you to basically steal the intellectual property of a character that they grew up with just so you can put yourself in the comic. Okay, you know, yes, putting the divert. It'd be one thing if you created your own character and built a world around it. Nobody have a problem with that. Nobody's per se against quote unquote diversity or representation. They're what they're against is you stealing somebody else's character to push your agenda. You know, I've said this before. I'll say it again. It's because it's human nature here. If you want to indoctrinate somebody, it's a lot easier to indoctrinate somebody with an established character than it is with a new character, right? Going back to the whole idea, we have with like, Tim Drake Robin and Jonathan Kent Superman, right? How writers in recent years made them gay. It's a lot easier when you can say, well, look, Superman's gay. He's cool. So being gay is cool. That's indoctrination 101, people. Okay? Take a beloved, like I know, and granted, I personally was not going to cover this or talk a whole lot about this, but I saw a headline, I guess, yesterday where I guess I think her name is Magila or whatever. She basically, went out there and bragged that she transed a beloved character because of licensed properties. If the editors, and I know, and I think it was again Metal who pointed this out, that the editors cared about the comics, then they would not be allowing this to happen. Because I think they would know that people will not buy this if you're pulling this baloney. I'm just, again, let me just remind everybody. Indoctrination 101. It's a lot easier to indoctrinate somebody with a beloved established character than with a new character. I don't know. Other people may have said that, but I'm saying it more directly, right? People may, because nobody probably wants to rock the boat or what have you, and claiming these. It's kind of funny how they like to throw terms and historical figures out there, calling people they don't like, a Yaki or or the German dictator, the evil German dictator. But it's kind of funny. It's like what's that old idea? The idea of how do you take down your enemy or something like that? Look in the mirror, look at the evils you do, and then point your finger at them and say, yeah, they're committing those evils, right? So let's see. Yeah, but basically, and I know a number of commentators, including Yellow Flash, have pointed this out that actually that's right. Dying because diverse elements because the sales are tanking. You got to know that when a comic book writer has to beg beg people to buy their comic, you got to know that in the back of their head they know that this is something that most people are not going to want to buy. They want, and then when they start talking about, well, give it to people you think will need it, right? That's indoctrination 101, people. That's indoctrination 101. All right, so continuing on with the article here. Daniel Calban, the writer of Band of Bards, American Dreams, likewise decried, quote, surprise, surprise, MM plays to the far right, or I guess MM means Millar, plays to the far right cultural warriors, again by supporting the guy who just insulted his fellow comic book creators. Just more of him turning into a far right jerk. No, because he's not attacking the creators as a whole. He's attacking the creators who are screwing the business up. The people who are, despite all evidence pointing to the fact that people don't want their garbage, right? Calling them out on it. Okay. Because he's not insulting. I don't think Ethan Van Sciver felt insulted by what he had to say, and he's a comic book creator. I don't think if I had to get, I don't think John Malin felt insulted by what Mark Millar and Glenn O'Leary had to say. I don't think Gabe Eltabe felt insulted by what they had to say. I don't think Jimmy Palmiotti felt insulted by what they had to say. And I know of a few more comic book creators who I don't think felt insulted by what Mark Millar and Glenn O'Leary had to say. Okay? So, he's calling the woke leftist creators out for their garbage, right? And exposing the evil in their hearts at trying to indoctrinate your kids. Let's see now. Anybody? Anyways, let me just check on real quick before I get back to the article here. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. In a follow-up tweet, Calvin further steamed, so MM, or Mark Millar, uses that store owner as a prop to feed red meat to reactionaries, get kudos from Comicsgate weirdos, and enables attacks on his fellow comic creators. And I'm the bad guy for pointing that out? No, you're the bad guy for basically doing what he's quote unquote attacking you on in the first place. Okay, being a far left weirdo, if you want to throw those words around. Oh, here we go. Here's something I haven't heard. I haven't seen in a while. This is somebody I haven't seen any commentary from her in a while. Noted industry influencer Lauren Renfamous Cooper started a Twitter thread collecting some of the more abrasive anti-feminist agreements given to a previous assertion by Van Sciver, wherein he argued that because, quote, most women don't know how to write comics for its primarily male audience, unquote, their rising numbers within the industry's writing roles ultimately led to ongoing spike in retailers, quote, going out of business and shuttering their doors, unquote, and invited Millar to, quote, look through it and understand why people in the comic industry and fans are bristling at the push to blame comic bookshop problems on diversity and perspective creators. Well, the problem is, for Infamous, is that no, you're trying to push something down people's throats they don't want. Okay, and the comic book shop owners are feeling the burn of it. They just want to be able to give their customers good comics. They don't want to peddle your ideological BS. Okay. You know, um, met with a block from Millar a few days later. Cooper accused, in turn, quote, pointed out to Mark Millar that some of his recent commentary has resulted in a wave of virulent misogyny and hate speech from his fans, and this was his response. So I guess he's cool with it, unquote. No, I don't think people were. I don't think. I don't think people are attacking Renfamous or any woman, for them just simply being a woman. They're quote unquote attacking them for their stupidity. Okay, and it's not just women; it's men too. These far left idiots who think that pushing agendas down people's throat is going to be a big selling point when the evidence has proven otherwise. Amidst this attempt to paint the writer as an quote acceptable target, a smaller quote, for their attacks, some such fans began to claim that they always knew Millar was an inherently bad person because of the brutality and depravity with which he wrote some of his villains, chief among the eponymous protagonist of his Nemesis series. Okay, yeah, it's kind of funny. That kind of reminds me of the idea, you know, of how a lot of the same people right now who are attacking Trump and claiming he's evil and claiming, oh, we're going to have a dictatorship, not maybe 5 or 10 years ago, would have had no problem taking money from him from their campaigns. Okay, um, as I remember, I think Trump actually did give Kamala Harris quite a bit, Vice President Kamala Harris, quite a bit of a financial boost in her campaign to become California Attorney General a few years ago. Of course, they forget about that now because now that he's basically, denounced their ideology and point out why it's wrong, you know. But and it's like with these people too. This particular aspect of cancel campaign eventually drew a video from noted comic book YouTuber Comics by Perch, wherein he recapped to his viewers, quote, right now, there's this kind of weird phenomenon um, where the video about the comic store retailer complaining about a lot of comics, and it got dogpiled, and a bunch other comic pros were like, quote, hey, 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 don't bleep where you eat. And it seemed to quiet down, and then Mark Millar comes in and does an interview with the guy, and then everybody's like, aha, oh, quote, aha, can't attack the retailer, but we can attack Mark, unquote. Oh, so there is a barrage. I mean, a lot of people now posting about why Mark is terrible, awful, um, is a terrible, awful, sus, right-leaning, etc. person, which is, of course, that's the rhetoric that these cancel pigs use, right? Uh, and that's actually a pretty good. That's a pretty interesting nomenclature. Um, you know, pigs. I don't know how many you realize this. Pigs is a derogatory term used towards police officers, right? So it kind of so in some ways it does make sense because if you think about these people trying to police culture, as it were, then yeah, cancel pigs, a very apropos name, right? Very apropos description. Um, Perch noted in his December 10th upload, quote, but the common thread in all this is stuff like this, and I'm going to read it to you, unquote. Pulling up a tweet from at Up to Task regarding the plot of Nemesis Volume 1, Perch quoted, quote, are y'all really surprised about Mark Miller? Mark Millar. This is the same guy who wrote a story where a supervillain kidnaps a cop's kids, threatened to reveal to the world the son was gay and the daughter had an abortion, then injects sperm from the gay brother into the daughter to impregnate her, unquote. Quote, here's another comment, unquote, he continued. Um, this time raising a tweet from an unknown user due to their tweet currently being unavailable via Twitter's internet search engine. Quote, Mark Millar writes incredibly sick villains. Why are his villains so evil as opposed to the joke? Well, villains are supposed to be evil. Villains are supposed, and sometimes, depending upon if there's something to the story, you know, if it makes for a good story. Granted, yeah, you don't maybe some of that stuff is a little over the top, you know, but the fact is that evil exists in this world, and sometimes, you get it thrown right in your face. I mean, sure, you all celebrated in 2011 when it's kind of funny. The CCA was essentially ceased to exist by 2011. You know, the last of the companies who are still using it stopped using it. Okay, and now it's almost like a lot of these people are doing a counter type CCA or whatever. You know, but it goes on and on and on of people talking about how Mark Millar writes villains, and these including comic writers, unquote, said Perch, and that should terrify you if a comic writer is writing. Quote, hey, it's really a problem if the villain is written like a villain, because that layers into the problem that we have with comics today, which is that the villain should do horrible things, say horrible things, all of that, unquote. Elaborating on the cause behind this phenomena, Perch lamented quote, writers are terrified of writing an evil villain because some DA or some dumb bleep um, will say, quote, yeah, I bet they're like the villain. Now, granted, to be fair, as human beings, we're all capable of committing evil. But just because you're capable of it, including Remphamus and including some of these other clowns who are like Remphamus is just as capable of being just as evil as Mark Millar is, if you want to put it that way. So but anyways, quote, this video, by the way, is not meant as a big defense of Mark Millar. He can defend himself. He's perfectly capable, but it is absolutely weird that people are dragging out of the woodwork like, quote, I always knew he was a bad guy because he wrote these villains that were bad, unquote. Now, what these people are trying to do is that they're trying to heap so much saying that this guy's evil, this guy's that they'll hope that Millar will just sink back into sink back into the shadows and won't be heard from again. I don't see that happening. Only way to stand up to the only way to deal with these bullies is to you know is basically knock them on their rear end. Not necessarily literally, figuratively more so than literally. Knock them on their rear end. That's how you deal with bullies. So, um, let's see. He told his audience, quote, we're living in a crazy time, but there are so many posts and people crawling out of the woodwork now. Just so thankful that Millar inserted himself into this so that they can stop having to attack the reseller, who is literally their channel of sales of comics, and get instead do a much safer thing, which is try to dogpile onto Millar. Good luck with that one, unquote. And if and it was in response to Perch's video that Millar would finally unload his rhetorical ordnance upon said cancel pigs. Sharing Perch's work to his personal Twitter account shortly after its publication, Millar declared, quote, this vid by @ComicsPerch is perfect. When I tell pals cancel pigs equate the actions of a villain with the with the true views of a writer like Stan Lee siding with Doctor Doom, they don't believe me. There's a light shining on those goons now, and they look very silly, to say the least. To say the least. Let's see if anybody else has shown up yet. No, I guess not. See how far along we are at time. Oh, we're already at 39 minutes. Wow. This article took me longer than I thought it would. I even started a little earlier than I normally would have, too. Anyways, let's continue on here. From there, the KA creator turned to reveal, quote, we know, of course, what's really going on here. Cancel pigs hunt creators under the guise of virtue A, because many of them are sociopaths who take pleasure in hurting others, which probably makes them actually the more dangerous individuals. But and B, they really want their jobs. See the current situation at the big two. for how that worked out. Yeah, I pointed this out too, just how stupid these people are. Because going back to Kelly Sue DeConnick, right? If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Well, guess what? People took that advice, and that's why you have comic book shop owners who are lamenting that. Now, granted, some comic book shop owners have made adjustments. They either will start featuring more independent stuff, or they'll even diversify their stores even more by, of course, doing by like doing things like gaming, like tabletop gaming, card, trading card games, that kind of thing. But quote, the most shameful episode of their little reign of terror was their hunting and marginalization of Howard Chaykin, one of the nicest and most talented creators in the biz, unquote. He recalled of this bitter demographics 2018 attempt to ruin the Blade Volume 4 artist's life. Quote, they tried to destroy a man in his 70s for internet likes and pros must never be silent if this happens again, unquote. Referring to the aforementioned O'Leary's viral pushback against the industry, Millar then declared, quote, so many big-name creator pals are buzzing about our big enough last week, but it's honestly so easy. Just block them and laugh at them. It's meaningless. These people don't even read comics. Never ever appease or encourage their cruelties. And that's true. You know, aside from when we're reporting on certain news items like this, I don't really even unless I'm making a point, like when I kind of start and I go back and I sarcastically saying like if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. It's just an example of just showing people how stupid these people are, right? you know, but even I won't necessarily. This is the first time I think in what year and a half, 2 years, even talked about Renfamous at all. You know, only because she came up in this article. So, you know, yeah, you don't want to feed into the negativity by like continually rolling in the muck. Okay. Yes, you want to report on stuff, on newsworthy stuff, and make sure that you're getting the word out. Um, but you don't necessarily need to continue it. I'll I'll probably go on to something else, and then you probably won't hear much about it for a while, and then come But anyways, starting a new thread, Millar further charged forth upon his warpath by next offering, quote, some genuine career advice for any wannabe cancel pigs, unquote. Quote, a huge part of freelance life is your peers, editors, wanting to work with you, unquote. Said the man who helmed Marvel's The Ultimate Volume 1 and Volume 2. Quote, everyone just wants to enjoy their job and have fun. If you're toxic, nobody wants to touch you, and many of you are in that place now. Unquote. Yeah. Quote, you are absolutely not going to get Writer X's job on Batman if you spend 6 months harassing him into suicide, unquote. He then made clear, quote, you will only be remembered by his editor and peers as someone who tried to bankrupt their pal, and they will never be there for you. Here endeth the lesson. Unquote. A few short hours later, Millar would also assure a fan that despite their bleating and screeching, said canceled pigs ultimately held zero sway over the industry. Retweeting at midnight. Well, and that's true because look, you know, Tim Sheridan recently tried to beg people to buy his comics, and they didn't. You got a big fat goose egg on that one. So, retweeting at midnight, King Ill's observation that it's funny that they are flailing impotently in all fronts, trying to cancel successful blokes like Millar, brackets YouTuber, brackets YouTuber Wendigoon, and brackets YouTuber Internet Historian, and all three are pretty apolitical at the moment. The Flash Volume 2 author adamantly declared, quote, they have no power. Quote, I spoke to one of DC's biggest writers at the weekend, and he told me he's lived in fear of them for years. But I couldn't emphasize this hard enough, unquote. He explained, quote, cancel pigs hurt people for sport because they're damaged personalities. You must never take them seriously. Understandably asked by at Vic Selfie, quote, if they had no power, then why are you blaming them for the decline of the comic industry? Millar elaborated, quote, they have zero power over creators, but writers and editors have made the mistake of trying to appease them for the past 7 years. And it's been fiscal suicide as they don't really read comics, unquote. Basically what Millar is saying there, of course, is they're catering to the people who are not your customers. You're flipping the bird to your customers in favor of people who are not your customers or who are not buying comics. After spending the next few hours thereafter being inundated with insults and attacks from the very bloodthirsty fans he called out, Millar once again addressed his detractors, this time informing them, quote, nice try to the cancel pigs trying to frame me as a Comicsgate guy so they can use their typical line of attack. I don't believe in any factions. I'm my own man, and I believe in good comics. Unquote. All right. Well, that's a nice clarification there because I got not that I thought he was actually with Comicsgate, but I thought he was kind of friendly towards them. Maybe he is, and but he wanted to, you know. But maybe even being, but of course, with a lot of these cancel pigs, as he calls them, you know, even being friendly towards them makes him Comicsgate, right? Taking note of his return to the topic, Twitter user at Roontang95 used the opportunity to ask the Marvel Knights Spider-Man Volume 1 author if he could provide clarification. Quote, for people labeling you, in brackets S2, who exactly are these cancel pigs, to which Miller obliged, quote, Twitter packs like the people who mobbed retailer Glenn O'Leary last week. mocking him and trying to destroy his reputation. Quote, we've seen it happen with comic pros too, like Howard Chaykin and many others, unquote. He concluded, quote, entirely for sport, cancel pig exists to destroy because they cannot create. And there we go with that one. So I hope you guys like that article. Let's see. We actually have some people. Hey, Apex. uh, let's see. Hey, Mike Walters. Hey, Apex. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you for your help there. I just went over this article bounding into comics where they were talking about how some of those comic pros are going after Mark Millar for highlighting what Glenn O'Leary was saying. Uh, anyways, yeah, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Looks like I went. So this one took me a lot longer than I thought it would. So I think I'll start to wrap up here now because we are getting close to the hour mark here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go straight to the wrestling wrap up, and then go through to the just some quick notes, as it were. Let's see. Also, to go over last night's Monday Night Raw, real quickly here to see what happened there. As for on last night's Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre defeated Jey Uso. In a non-title match, Rhea Ripley defeated Maxine Dupree. Bronson Reed defeated Ivar. In a match that highlighted the women's tag team division, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter defeated Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell of DIY. In a six-man tag, the male members of DIY of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano teamed up with The Miz to defeat the Imperium of Giovanni Vinci, Gunther, and Ludwig Kaiser, helping to earn The Miz another shot at Gunther's Intercontinental title match. In the main event, Cody Rhodes defeated Shinsuke Nakamura for the or via DQ. Let's see. Apex, you got something more to say. Glenn O'Leary is a good friend to the comic book community. He has a great channel, Comic Book Palace. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about it lately on both the panel show, and I've been talking about it throughout the week because of all. I was first brought to my attention by Yellow Flash, so that's how I first heard about it. But that situation. But yeah, so in other wrestling news, of course, WWE has apparently settled with Major League Wrestling with and Major League Wrestling tried to sue WWE for antitrust issues. Apparently settled that situation. Also, MJF, current AEW World Heavyweight Champion, was recently seen shaking hands with WWE star John Cena at the premiere of Iron Claw, the movie, the true life movie based on the Von Erich family. So that's all the wrestling news I got for you. So why don't we go ahead and move on to this day in Nietzsche history. History! So let's see, 1983. Oh, crud. Alright. Oopsie. Sorry about that. Just give me a sec here, because I kind of goofed on something here. Sometimes when you're just when you're just closing stuff out, you realize, oh, wait a minute, I didn't want to close that out yet. That's exactly what happened here. So let's see. All right, so let's see. Oh, yeah, that's the one I was had up. Okay, so that was from 2018, 1983, 1983, 1983. All right, so with all that being said, and it looks like, yeah, well, maybe even I'll do that. um, all right. So with that, let's take a look. Today being Tuesday, December 12th, 2022, or 2023 rather. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History. And first off, we're going to head back 40 years ago today. Um, and a number of things happened on this. A few things actually happened on this date, 40 years ago today. So first off, um, Ernie Roth, WWE Hall of Famer, legendary manager Ernie Roth, passed away, age of 54. Of course, he was probably knows. He was known for his managerial work with a lot of the heels. He, of course, helped to lead superstar Billy Graham to his 1 year reign as WWF um, World Heavyweight Champion. Um, so on this date, 40 years ago today, Ernie Roth passed away. The Grand Wizard, Ernie Roth, passed away at the age of 54. Now, of course, 1983 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice, as one person passed on that date 40 years ago today. Another individual came into this world on that day, as I'd like to wish a happy birthday to former actor Matthew Valencia, former actor and voice actor. For those of you who may not remember, Matthew Valencia provided the voice of Tim Drake Robin in the DCAU the DCAU universe, um, basically in the new Batman Adventures that ran from 97 to 99, and then of course a guest appearance on Superman the Animated Series. Um, Let me see now. He also, of course, was involved in the direct-to-video movie of Tim Drake, the young Tim Drake Robin, in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. So happy 40th birthday to Matthew Valencia, the voice of Robin Tim Drake, in in the DCAU. And of course, 1983 was double nice. It's even still so nice that now we're going to hit it thrice. Not just It's not just nice twice, but it's nice thrice. As also on this date 40 years ago today, Piero's OVA series Dalos premiered on Japanese television on this date, or was released on this date in 1983. So 40 years ago today, Piero's OVA Dalos premiered or was released on this date 40 years ago today. And with that, we have one more piece of niche history as we go back just 5 years on this date, 5 years ago today, 2018. The first issue of the mini series, the Batman Who Laughs, the first issue of that story went on sale on this date back in 2018, 5 years ago. The Laughing House Part 1 was the name of the story. 26 pages. It sold for the total book was 32 pages. Sold for $4.99. The story was written by Scott Snyder, with Mark Simpson doing the art, lettering done by Sal Soprano, with David Barron doing the coloring. So on this date, 5 years ago today, the first issue of the Batman Who Laughs went on sale on this date. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Let's see. I hope let's see. I hope that hope everybody enjoyed the show, and hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.